everyone. Welcome to Sound Moves Today, the podcast about real estate in the Puget Sound region and sound moves for your life. I'm Paul Graff, your host, coming to you today from the corner office. Fantastic weather we're having in Seattle this week. This week's episode, I've got two segments for you guys. One called If You're Selling Your House This Summer, Hiring a Pro is Critical. And then the other one is the language of real estate. This is going to be a part one of that. There's plenty of terms you might hear in real estate transactions, and it's just giving you guys some of those words with the definitions that we use. So, hope everybody's having a good week. As always, if there's anything you'd like me to cover in this podcast, let me know. I'm happy to incorporate that, and always want to know how I can bring more value to you guys all. So, have a good week, everyone, and I'll catch you next time. If you're selling your house this summer, hiring a pro is critical. It can be tempting, especially with how hot the housing market has been over the past 2 years, to consider selling your home on your own. But today's market is at a turning point, making it more essential than ever to work with a real estate professional. Not only will a trusted real estate advisor keep you updated and help you make the best decisions based on current market trends, but they're also experts in managing the many aspects of selling your house. Here are 5 key reasons why working with a real estate professional makes sense today. Number 1, a professional follows the latest market trends. With higher mortgage rates, rising home prices, and a growing number of homes for sale, today's housing market is showing signs of a shift back toward more pre-pandemic levels. When conditions change, following the trends and staying on top of new information is crucial when you sell. That makes working with an expert real estate advisor critical today. They know your local area and follow national trends too. More importantly, they'll know what this data means for you. And as the market shifts, they'll be able to help you navigate it and make your best decision. Number 2, a professional helps maximize your pool of buyers. Your agent's role in bringing in buyers is important. Real Estate Investopedia explains why it's risky to sell on your own without the network an agent provides. They say you don't have relationships with clients, other agents, or a real estate agency to bring the largest pool of potential buyers to your home. A smaller pool of potential buyers means less demand for your property, which can translate into waiting longer to sell your home and possibly not getting as much money as your house is worth. Number 3, a professional understands the fine print. Today, more disclosures and regulations are mandatory when selling a house. That means the number of legal documents you'll need to juggle is growing. The National Association of Realtors explains it best, saying, selling a home typically requires a variety of forms, reports, and disclosures, and other legal and financial documents. Also, there's a lot of jargon involved in real estate transaction. You want to work with a professional who can speak the language. A real estate professional knows exactly what needs to happen, what all the paperwork means, and how to work through it efficiently. They'll help you review the documents and avoid any costly missteps that could occur if you try to handle them on your own. Number 4, a professional is a trained negotiator. If you sell without a professional, you'll also be solely responsible for all the negotiations. That means you'll have to coordinate with the buyer, who wants the best deal possible, the buyer's agent, who will use their expertise to advocate for the buyer, the inspection company, which works for the buyer and will almost always find concerns with the house, the appraiser, who assesses the property value to protect the lender. Number 5, a professional knows how to set the right price for your house. If you sell your house on your own, you may over or undershoot your asking price. That could mean you'll leave money on the table because you priced it too low, or your house will sit on the market because you priced it too high. Pricing a house requires expertise. NAR explains it like this. A great real estate agent will look at your home with an unbiased eye, providing you with the information you need to enhance marketability and maximize price. Real estate professionals know the ins and outs of how to price your house accurately and competitively. To do so, they compare your house to recently sold homes in your area and factor in the current condition of your home. These steps are key to making sure it's set to move quickly while still getting you the highest possible final sale price. Bottom line, whether it's following local and national trends and guiding you through a shifting market or pricing your house right, a real estate agent has essential insights you'll want to rely on throughout the transaction. Don't go it alone. If you plan to sell, let's connect so you have an expert on your side. Hey, so as with many industries, real estate has its own set of words and jargon that we like to use and things. Last week, I happened to be talking to my sister up in Canada about selling their townhome. And she'd used a term when talking with a friend of hers that the friend did not quite understand. So I figured it would be a good idea to do an episode or two on some of the language, some of the words that we use in real estate in Washington State. Just to give you some definitions of common words you may hear thrown around during a transaction. So this is going to be in alphabetical order too. This is not exhaustive, but some of the more common terms you might hear. So, first off, agency. A relationship of trust created when one person, the principal, grants another, the agent, authority to represent the principal in dealings with third parties. Going along with this is dual agency, when an agent represents both parties to a transaction, as when a real estate agent represents both the buyer and the seller. This is also the case when agents working for the same broker work on a deal together representing buyer and seller. If another agent in my office, for instance, brings a buyer to one of my listings and submits an offer, this is also a dual agency relationship. The next one is bump clause. Hopefully you never have to go along with this, but a provision in the purchase and sale agreement that allows the seller to keep the property on the market while waiting for a contingency to be fulfilled. If the seller receives another good offer in the meantime, they can require the buyer to either waive the contingency clause or terminate the contract. Competitive market analysis, often referred to as CMA. This is a comparison of homes that are similar in location, style, and amenities to the subject property in order to set a realistic listing price similar to the sales comparison approach to value. Contingent. Subject to certain conditions being met. In real estate, there are quite a few contingencies. There can be a purchase contingent on the sale of another property. There can be a purchase subject to a favorable inspection report. There can be a purchase subject to the securing of the correct loan amount. Generally, the fewer contingencies, the easier it is to have a seller accept an offer. Counteroffer. A response to a contract offer, changing some of the terms of the original offer. It operates as a rejection of the original offer, not as an acceptance. It is also called a qualified acceptance. Deed of trust. An instrument that creates a voluntary lien on real property to secure the repayment of a debt, and which includes a power of sale clause permitting non-judicial foreclosure. The parties are the grantor or trustor, the borrower, the beneficiary, the lender, and the trustee, a neutral third party. Designated broker. A managing broker who registers with the state to have a designated broker endorsement added to their license. May represent one or more firms and will have ultimate responsibility for all firm activities. Escrow. An arrangement in which something of value, such as money or a deed, is held on behalf of the parties to a transaction by a disinterested third party, an escrow agent, until specified conditions have been fulfilled. Legal description. A precise description of a parcel of real property that would enable a surveyor to locate its exact boundaries. It may be lot and block description, a meets and bounds description, or a government survey description. Listing agent. The agent who takes a listing and thus represents the seller. Market value. The most probable price which a property should bring in a competitive and open market under all conditions requisite to a fair sale, the buyer and seller each acting prudently and knowledgeably, and assuming the price is not affected by undue stimulus. Market value is also called fair market value, value in exchange, or objective value. Mutual consent. When all parties freely agree to the terms of a contract without fraud, undue influence, duress, menace, or mistake. Mutual consent is achieved through offer and acceptance. It is sometimes referred to as a meeting of the minds. Selling agent. The agent responsible for procuring a buyer for real estate may represent either the seller or buyer. Settlement statement. A document that presents a final, detailed accounting for a real estate transaction, listing each party's debits and credits, and the amount each will receive or be required to pay at closing, also called a closing statement. Short sale. Selling the home for less than the amount owed. With the lender's consent, the lender receives the sale proceeds and typically releases the borrower from the remaining debt. And then we'll end with Truth in Lending Act, a federal law that requires lenders and credit arrangers to make disclosures concerning loan costs, including the total finance charge and annual percentage rate, to consumer loan applicants.